This segment is called Whay Baat. So Whay Baat is a phrase we use to say, that's what I'm saying, or I agree. So as alluded to in the previous video where I spoke about the word Konchi, I'm going to carry these same examples forward and talk about the differences that we see at the end of the sentences in Hindi versus Fiji Hindi. So the first sentence that I had spoke of last week was kya hua, which means what happened. So kya is what and hua is happened. So in Fiji Hindi, we say Konchi for kya and bhe or khaenge for hua or happened. So I'm going to introduce a couple new words so that I can give you another couple of examples. So in English, when we say this and that, we would in Hindi say ye and wo. In Fiji Hindi, this is e and u. Yes, it does sound a little funny. So if we were saying this and that, in Hindi, it is ye aur wo. In Fiji Hindi, e aur u. So this happened and that happened, ye hua or wo hua, or e bhe u hoige. The second example from last week was, what will you eat? Aap kya khaenge? So aap is you, kya is what, and khaenge is will you eat. The root word here is kha, which means eat. So the enge that you hear at the end of the word is what you will hear at the end of various verbs based on the sentence. So some examples here are, what will you drink? Aap kya piyenge? What will you sing? Aap kya gaenge? In Fiji Hindi, we would say, aap konchi piyega and aap konchi gaega. So here you hear that in Fiji Hindi, we are replacing the enge with aega or ega. Now you must be wondering, why are there two different endings, ega and aiga? So that might be based on context, or that might be based on the gender that the verb in the sentence takes. To inject a little more of the quirks that we have in the Fiji Hindi language, I would also like to point out that we will typically use the word tum instead of aap. Now tum is the same meaning, but it is just a more informal or slang way of saying you. So us Fiji Indians reserve our politeness for elderly priests, gurus, things like that. But on the typical day-to-day, we will refer to each other as tum. So to look back at the example of aap kya piyenge, which is what will you drink, we could say aap konchi piyega, but more commonly we would say tum konchi piyega. So the third and last example from last week was the sentence, what are you doing? Aap kya kar rahe ho? So in Fiji Hindi, this becomes tum konchi karta. So aap is you, kya is what, kar is do, and rahe ho is the ing, the ing. So what happens in Fiji Hindi is the rahe ho attaches to the verb as ta. So instead of kar rahe ho, you hear karta. So another couple of examples to show these differences. If in English I'm saying I am eating sweets, in Hindi I would say main mithai kha rahi hu, and in Fiji Hindi I would say hum mithai khata. In English, if I were to say I am drinking tea, in Hindi I would say main chai pee rahi hu, and in Fiji Hindi I would say hum cha pita. Now, in the close of this segment, I would like to bring your attention to the fact that the word we use for I in Hindi versus Fiji Hindi is different. So, in the previous examples, I said me versus hum. Now, this we will pick up again in a later video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this interesting, informative. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or feedback, please do share them with me. Until next time, dhanyavad, vinakavaka levu.